The Alaafin of the Oyo Empire. The Alaafin of the Oyo Empire possessed supreme judicial authority over the whole Oyo Empire. He also controlled succession of chief, and anytime he wore his veiled crown, he was acknowledged to be Ikeji Orisha, that is, next to the gods, someone like the gods. Under his authority was an elaborate court system that contained eunuchs, servants, slaves, titled officers, people who handled different administrative aspects of his authority, and people who he used to administer different parts of the empire. Tax collectors, bodyguards, machineries. It was an elaborate system of royal courts, and all of them reported to the Alaafin directly because they were under his authority. According to oral traditions, once the threats from the Bariba and the Nupe that came in from the north of the empire ended, the struggle for power between the Alaafin and the Oyo Mese increased, and it was this struggle that shaped most of what was going to happen in the Oyo Empire. One of the principal factors in the development of the Oyo Empire was the royal court's need to establish the authority of the empire in towns that were outside of Oyo Ile and that was outside the empire, in order for them to generate manpower, taxes, and resources which the Oyo Mese had little control over. This was achieved by the employment of cavalry, a new system of fighting which the Oyo Empire learned from the Bariba and the Nupe, against which many Yoruba towns that were outside of the empire were totally defenseless against. Once the northern area of the empire that surrounded the capital city had been consolidated and secured by the Alaafin, they started to meet with some threats from the Benin. And what did the Alaafin do about it? Successive Alaafin started to defend themselves against these threats by establishing their authority and presence in towns like Ijesha, Igbomina, and some towns in Ekiti to the east. However, the expansion of the Alaafin authorities to towns like Ondo and Idonri was unsuccessful, and it was partly due to the kind of terrain that those towns had. It was not conducive for cavalry, which the Oyo Empire heavily relied on. The next line of action of the Alaafin of the Oyo Empire was to move to the south of the empire. Why they moved to the south of the empire? They carefully bypassed Ile-Ife. Now, to the south of the empire were two kingdoms, the kingdom of Owu and the kingdom of Ijebu. These two kingdoms were both established and very, very strong. And according to 19th century Yoruba historian Samuel Johnson, Owu and Ijebu had been very, very loyal to the Alaafin of Oyo, though court traditions in the Oyo Empire suggested that the kingdom of Owu was closer to the Oyo Empire than the kingdom of Ijebu, and at some point the Oyo Empire might have asserted its influence over the internal affairs of the kingdom of Ijebu. Indeed, it was the kingdom of Benin, or the Benin Empire, that exerted the greatest influence over the kingdom of Ijebu in the 16th century, while the Oyo's empire's greatest influence was among the Egbas to the south of the empire. The Egbas were called an offshoot of Yoruba proper, that is the Oyo Empire, having been settled by Esu, that is the war chiefs of the Oyo Empire, during the campaign of the then Alaafin of Oyo and the founder of the Oyo Empire, Oronyo.